Viral title: Trump and Putin to meet in Alaska as Ukraine war deadline expires, high-stakes summit set for August 15. Viral description: in a historic and high-pressure diplomatic showdown, U.S. President Donald Trump will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15, 2025, following the expiration of Trump's deadline for Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. The summit, their first in-person meeting since Trump's return to the White House, comes amid global speculation about the future of the three-year conflict. Viral tags: Trump, Putin, Alaska Summit, Ukraine War, U.S.-Russia talks, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, peace negotiations, world politics, geopolitics. 50 hashtags. Hashtag Trump, hashtag Putin, hashtag Alaska Summit, hashtag Ukraine War, hashtag Trump Putin meeting, hashtag Global Politics, hashtag US-Russia, hashtag Peace Talks, hashtag Diplomacy, hashtag Geopolitics, hashtag Breaking News, hashtag World News, hashtag Ukraine Conflict, hashtag Russia-Ukraine War, hashtag Trump News, hashtag Putin News, hashtag Alaska News, hashtag Political News, hashtag World Leaders, hashtag International Relations, hashtag War and Peace, hashtag Global Diplomacy, hashtag Peace Negotiations, hashtag Foreign Policy, hashtag Historic Meeting, hashtag NATO, hashtag US Politics, hashtag Russia Politics, Summit 2025, hashtag News Update, hashtag Political Summit, hashtag Ukraine Peace, hashtag Ukraine Crisis, hashtag Ukraine Update, hashtag Putin vs Trump, hashtag Political Showdown, hashtag US-Russia Relations, hashtag Trump Administration, hashtag Putin Administration, hashtag White House, hashtag Kremlin, hashtag Global Summit, hashtag Major News, hashtag Political Breaking News, hashtag Ukraine-Russia Conflict, hashtag Historic Talks, hashtag Cold War Echoes, hashtag High Stakes Meeting, hashtag International Summit, hashtag Political Drama, hashtag Ukraine Peace Talks, hashtag Breaking World News. Do you want me to also make a more sensational, viral-friendly version so it trends faster on social media?